What's up, guys? I'm bringing you another video today, and today this video we are going to talk about why the CBR 300R is the best first bike. Love that sound. Alright guys, so I know a lot of you are starting out riding, or maybe you've been riding for a little bit and you know you just need some helpful tips and tricks, or maybe just someone else's opinion on the matter. A lot of you guys that are just starting out, never really ridden a bike before, you know, a lot of the guys will recommend that you start on a 250, a 300. You know, you have some guys out there that recommend you just go ahead and start on a 600. I haven't heard too many people say starting on a 1000 is okay, because it really isn't. That's a good way to hurt yourself. But what you hear the most is people saying start on a 250 or a 300, get you something small. A lot of people are going to say also that you will outgrow that bike pretty fast. You know, that after about a month or two of riding, you know, you just want more power. You know, your skill level has risen since you've been riding for a minute. And you know, that is true to an extent. I started on a 250, a Ninja 250, and I had it a couple months before I was like, man, this just really isn't it anymore. You know, it just lacks so much power. You know, once you get your basics down and you know how to ride, that's when you want to start venturing into going faster. You know what I mean? Once you know how to maneuver the bike, how the bike works, you know, you can do your U-turns in the parking lot, all that good shit. You know, once you get that stuff down, you're like, okay, well, I've got the basics now. I just want to go fast. I want to learn how to go faster. I want to learn how to control the bike better. And that's when, you know, the upgrading to a bigger bike comes in handy. Why I say this is the best beginner bike is because it gives you more room to grow into it. And so this bike, the 2019 Honda CBR 300R, this is the non-ABS edition, which is something that I greatly recommend for you new riders, is get ABS. You're going to get into a situation where you need a hard brake. It's going to happen, and you're going to want ABS, you know, so you don't lock up your tires, slide right to the back of somebody. And so this bike weighs 350 pounds. That's the curb weight on this bike. The ABS module weighs about 10 pounds more, so you're looking at about 360 or so. So this bike's very light, and why I feel like it's one of the best beginner bikes, not only is it not stupid fast, obviously, you know, the acceleration is pretty good. I want to say the 0 to 60 is probably 5 seconds or something like that, maybe 6. So it's not like stupid fast. You're not going to throw yourself off the bike. And I mean, amongst other things, you know, you can kill yourself on any bike, you can hurt yourself on any bike, but it's a lot less likely to happen when you're on a smaller bike, when you start out on a smaller bike, because then, like I said, you have the room to grow and learn. You know, you're on a bike that's not too dangerous. You can take it easy, learn what you need to, get your skills up to par, and then get you a bigger bike and you're good. Look at the little dog. That motherfucker looks mean. And you know, being that this bike does not weigh a lot, it's very easy to flick this thing around. You know, it's super easy to maneuver in corners, super easy to lean over. And that's also another big point why I recommend a smaller bike for a beginner whenever you're starting out, is because, you know, some people go get a big bike, 600, 1000, and they think they can just go and take those twisties like the rest of us, and they find out real quick they can't. They, you know, high side, low side, fuck themselves up, fuck their brand new bike up that they just paid a lot of money for. So getting a small bike that's very light kind of helps ease you into that as well. You know, you can really get used to riding it, to maneuvering it, and it just makes it that much easier whenever you upgrade to a bigger bike. You know, I have rode many beginner bikes before, and to me, this bike just looks great. I believe in 2017. I believe in 2017 is whenever they redesigned the body style of the CBR as the 250s and 300s, and they made them kind of look like their big brother, like the 500 and stuff like that. So yeah, not only does this bike look really great and feel really great, but it's gone. I don't know what I was thinking about. I'm not too sure what happened. It just kind of flew out the window. So I've talked about the weight of the bike, I've talked about the looks of the bike, and I guess I can talk about the feel. I mean, it feels great, and because it's so light and you can flick it around like this, you know, it feels great, you know, and you know, taking it in the corners and stuff like that, it's a great handling bike. Now, the back tires on these smaller bikes are pretty small, and they will kind of give you some issues, you know, if you're on the highway or whatever and you hit one of those grooves in the road, it'll kind of try to take you with it. So you can upgrade the size of these tires on these bikes, just by a little bit though. You can't go too much, you know. There's lots of videos on YouTube you can look up and see what people have done. This bike is running a 140/70, if I'm not mistaken. And I know that I can upgrade to a 150/70, but a 160 would be rubbing the swing arms. Obviously, you don't want that. And, you know, and like I said, this bike is not fast enough for you to really hurt yourself. I mean, you can, but if you know what you're doing and you're riding responsibly, you're good. You're not going to hurt yourself, man. You're going to have some fun, and you're really going to learn a lot. And so, if you're thinking about getting your first bike, and you don't want to get a 250 because maybe it's too small and you feel like you're going to outgrow it pretty fast, you know, I'd recommend the 300. You know, there are multiple 300s out there. Like, I know KTM makes a 300. Kawasaki actually has a Ninja 400, and a lot of people say that is the best beginner bike to start on. It is much faster than this one. Maybe not by a lot, but it is faster than this one. And so for somebody that comes from my background and my skill set, I probably would have rather enjoyed the 400, but this is what I got, and so this is what I want to do my video on, because I have had tons of fun on this bike, and I mean, it never really disappoints me. Hope my mic is working. The last video that I recorded, my mic wasn't on for some weird reason. So if you are watching this as a person who is wanting to get into the moto world and get your first bike and start learning, I highly recommend getting a small bike to start with. Like I've mentioned a few times, the 250 may be a little too small. You know, you may outgrow it. And I do recommend the 300 for starting out, but also there's a few things to take into account, and that's the thing, is this subject has always been a very touchy subject. You know, if you're experienced, you can start out on something a little bit bigger. If you have no experience, you should probably go as small as you can, so that way you know, there's a nice learning curve there. And like I said, it's a very touchy subject, and it really all depends on your personal preference. There's lots of people that have never ridden before that did start on 600 and were perfectly fine because they were responsible, they knew throttle control, they knew not to be stupid, and they knew not to ride past their limits. And that is the big thing. Never ride past your limits. Or a good saying that I've heard a lot is never ride faster than your guardian angel can fly. So the 250 that I did have was pretty small in size too. If I'm not mistaken, the CBR has a little bit longer of a wheelbase. It sits a little bit higher off the ground, and it has a more aggressive riding position. And that's a big thing too, is, you know, the riding position. Where are your feet pegs? Feet pegs. Where are your foot pegs? How high up are they? How high is your gas tank? How high are your handlebars? You know, all that comes into account whenever you're thinking of your riding position and your comfortability. And the CBR 300R hit all those points for me. I won't lie to you. When I first got on it, I was like, man, this is awesome. Like, this bike feels great. 1,000 times better than the Ninja 250 felt. You know, and another thing I probably ought to mention, before you do go out and buy you a beginner bike, man, buy you some gear, get you a good helmet, get you some good gloves, you know, some good boots if that's what you're into. I can't tell you how many people I have seen on bikes that have absolutely no gear. To each his own. You know, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But like, man, you know, care about your life a little bit, right? At least wear a fucking helmet. Who cares if you scrape up your arms, your knees, your legs? You know, I broke an ankle one time. I broke my ankle, my leg. You know, I laid down a bike and it landed on my shit. Did some damage, you know, but my head was fine. I had a helmet on. I didn't die. I didn't suffer brain injuries, you know, and that's what matters. But anyways, I know I was kind of all over the place in this video. I'm pretty new to motovlogging, so you know, I don't have all my P's and Q's lined up. I don't have all my ducks in a row yet. Obviously, as I do this more and more, my content will get better. And it won't be all over the place, hopefully. If there's any other points that I did not cover, which are probably a lot of them, drop them down in the comments, you know what I mean? Let me know. And I can always give my opinion there. I can always make a second video too, it doesn't matter. But yeah, just drop a comment down there, you know, say hi, whatever. You know, like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And of course, I am releasing videos at least once a week, sometimes twice, 3 times a week. It just depends on what's going on. But yeah, other than that, I appreciate y'all coming along with me today, and I will see y'all another time.